Batman Arkham Knight. Let's get into it. Howdy folks, welcome to another episode on the Catholic Quest YouTube channel. Today we'll be reviewing Batman Arkham Knight from a Catholic perspective. Batman Arkham Knight is the final game in the Batman Arkham universe, excluding Batman Arkham VR and the upcoming Suicide Squad game. I did skip reviewing Arkham Asylum and City, although I've played these games in the past. I'm jumping into Arkham Knight due to this comment requesting I do Arkham Knight next. Thank you for the suggestion, and here we are. This game holds up visually to this day, and is a fantastic game overall. I would say each entry into the Batman Arkham series is my favorite for different reasons. Arkham Asylum for its ability to get across a certain ambiance through its eerie asylum. Arkham City for the best story out of all the games. Arkham Origins for delving into a younger Batman, introducing some of the cast we've come to grow and love. And lastly, Arkham Knight for its stellar improvements to existing gameplay mechanics. And yes, I do enjoy the Batmobile, although I know that's a controversial opinion. This game is rated M for mature, a higher rating compared to rated T for teen of previous games. So be aware of that going into it. To be honest, it's not a huge jump in maturity, but there are instances of disturbing visuals, murder, suicide, dead bodies, and so on. This game does a great job of showing us why we must resist evil. How despite our weaknesses, and despite our temptations to give in to sin, and to let go of our morality, we must resist. We must continue to follow God. The game does it in a secular fashion, and leaves God out of the picture, unfortunately, but there's a real Christian lesson to be learned here nonetheless. Batman struggles with all that's going on. I don't want to spoil anything, but his past haunts him. The death of close friends drives his fear, and a temptation to lose control is a constant worry. Yet he tries to push on through anyways. He wants to get justice, end evil, protect the innocent, work with the police, and so on. There are some decent role models here. For the most part, Gordon, Barbara, Batman, Robin, Nightwing, and a few others are decent people. Even one of the villains takes the chance to help and change for the better. They're not perfect, but pretty good overall. Which brings us to one more good thing before I get into the bad. Fear is a common theme in this game. Scarecrow believes he can destroy Batman and control people with fear. He can win with fear is what he thinks, and this is clearly portrayed as evil. But it's those who fight against him that shine here. Fear doesn't control them. It's there, but it doesn't stop them. They go on in spite of it. They fight and don't let fear get the best of them. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 states, "For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather of power and love and self-control." Batman is even willing to sacrifice his life if it means saving Gotham. Reminds me of the sacrifice of Christ. Jesus laid down his life as the perfect sacrificial lamb for the sake of our salvation. But unfortunately, as with much of media, there are some common problems. God's name is taken in vain, though I do not recall this being a constant issue if memory serves. You beat up a lot of people through violent means. Further, you can sort of run enemies over, but it more so electrocutes them out of the way, leaving them incapacitated but not dead. They had to figure something out for the Batmobile, even if it didn't make sense. Otherwise, you'd have Batman killing people left and right with his Batmobile, which they definitely didn't want for the character. The biggest issue I came across in the game is some poorly dressed women. I can think of 3: Catwoman, Harley Quinn, and most especially Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy is near naked, so be aware of that. Very similar stuff to Arkham Asylum and City if you've played those. There's also a neon sign in the shape of a silhouette of a woman for a strip club. You can't go into the building, thankfully, but that is there. Cutscenes can be skipped if you find something inappropriate, but sometimes the characters are part of the gameplay as well. That being said, there are also some naked mannequins in some areas if that bothers you. In addition, there are scenes and gameplay moments of torture and murder. Lastly, there are some spiritually related themes, such as a cult leader trying to sacrifice a man in a ritual, and a man who dons the cross on his armor as part of a false Catholic group. The group is in fact fictional, just to be clear. I think this game has a lot of themes that are very secular in nature, but can be tied to the faith for those of us interested in that, which puts the game in a very peculiar spot. On one hand, it's grim, dark, and even hopeless at times. On the other, there is some good messaging portrayed in some of the story beats and characters, such as the insistence on good that Batman has. I gave Arkham Origins a 7, but for this game, I'm giving Arkham Knight a 6 out of 10 for its Catholic compatibility score, particularly for its increase in sexualized characters when compared to Arkham Origins. With that being said, thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful in some way. And remember, open up the door when Christ comes knocking. Bye-bye.